Hey everyone, my name is Hannah Silva, and today I'm going to be presenting on problem-based learning. So just a little overview of what I'll be going over through this presentation. I want to explain what problem-based learning is. I want to give an example. I also want to explain what case-based reasoning is. And then I'm going to explain the differences and similarities between the two and how each support learning. Okay, so what actually is problem-based learning? Problem-based learning is a cognitive teaching approach that allows learners to focus on learning through solving real-world problems and reflecting on experiences. Learners are required to work together in groups to pull their information, tackle problems, and learn through practice and theory. So next is just an example that I came up with. So the problem at hand is the Mississippi River has been eroding its banks at an alarming rate. Locals are losing land and the community is concerned about the impact on ecosystems, property, and safety. College students have been asked to investigate the causes of the erosion and propose solutions. So this is an example in in an educational context. So on this slide are the learning tasks that I would have assigned to the students if this was a real experiment. So in groups of 4, problem-based learning is very team-oriented, so I did put groups of 4. So I want the class to decide in the groups of 4, I want the class to, identify what natural and human factors contribute to the erosion. I also want them to do some field work, so I want them to measure soil, slope, vegetation, and water flow, just to, recreate it in class if they needed to, on a smaller level. I also want them to identify the short and long-term consequences of erosion for not only the land, but the ecosystems and communities. And I want them to propose strategies to reduce this erosion by working together as a team. So this slide is about learning outcomes. So as assigned groups, the groups of 4, I want the team to interpret the data that they have collected, address any uncertainties, and justify claims about the drivers of erosion. I also want them to design and defend their methods. And then as a class, I want all groups to come together and share their data sets, compare analysis, and synthesize their collective findings to come up with one holistic plan for the issue. So next is, what is case-based reasoning? So case-based reasoning is a problem-solving approach that uses cases or past experiences to understand and solve new problems. Case-based reasoning involves recalling previous situations that are similar to the current one at hand and applying solutions from those cases to address the new problem. So in this slide, I have listed the differences between problem-based learning and case-based reasoning. So first I want to go over the similarities. And there were a bunch that I didn't list, but just 3 that are the most important to me are they both use a constructivist approach. They both allow learners to learn from experience, and they both foster collaborative learning. So the differences between the 2 are the way the problem at hand is being solved. So problem-based learning is all about problem solving and coming up with a solution, whereas case-based learning is about applying lessons learned, from other cases. And then problem-based learning is open-ended challenges, where case-based reasoning is specific to a case to solve. And then problem-based learning allows for structured class practices. This allows the teacher to, guide reflections in class rather than giving students or learners the answer. And then case-based reasoning is there is no teacher guidance. Um, and then problem-based learning, of course, lets the learners learn content and skills in real time. And then case-based reasoning allows knowledge through indexing. Okay, so now on this slide, I would like to explain how each method supports learning. So problem-based learning allows for active engagement, a deeper understanding for the learners. It also allows for transferable skills. It does build teamwork. It integrates learning outcomes, builds motivation, and encourages scientific practice. Case-based learning, on the other hand, allows students or learners to learn from experience. It allows them to avoid mistakes, improve competence, generalize information, gain feedback, index for future use, and anticipate problems. So those are just some pros about how it supports learning. They also have cons. So for problem-based learning, the cons are going to be that the approach is time intensive. It also requires extensive training for teachers. And if students have different learning skills, that might be affected. And then learners may struggle with the open-ended questions, and there also could be resource constraints. For case-based learning, there is a risk of overgeneralization. It also is dependent on the case quality, how much a learner might, gain from that. There could be indexing challenges. One major problem is going to be adapting old solutions to new problems because not every, solution will fit a new problem. And then there could be some scalability issues. So here are some references that I've used. I do appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.